Welcome back to part 4 of chapter 1.3 notes over distance and midpoint. Now in example 5, it tells us that Marco places a couch so that its end is perpendicular and 2.5 feet away from the wall. The couch is 96 inches wide. How far is the midpoint of the couch from the back of the wall in feet? Now, an easy way to do a problem like this is to create a diagram. So first off, what we're going to do is we're going to build a wall. So there's our wall. And we are going to say that there's a couch where the end of it is 2.5 feet away and it's 96 inches long. So the distance from the wall to the couch is 2.5 feet, and it tells us that the length of the couch is 96 inches. So one tick mark means that it's feet, two tick marks or apostrophes means that it is inches. Now it's telling us to find the midpoint of the couch back from the wall in feet. So we have to find the midpoint of the couch and then find the distance from the wall to the midpoint or the middle of the couch. Now it says everything has to be in feet, so what we should do is we should do some conversion. So we should convert 96 inches to feet. So we have 96 inches and we want to convert that to feet. Now most people know that there are 12 inches in 1 foot. Now we have to understand how to convert. Now what we're going to do is, are we going to multiply or are we going to divide by 12? That's the big question. So we know that inches is in the numerator on the left side. So we can say this is 96 inches over 1. Now we need the inches to cross itself out. So if we were to put the inches on top, they wouldn't cancel each other out because inches times inches is inches squared. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to put the inches on bottom and the feet on top. Now we know that there's for every 1 foot there are 12 inches. So this means that the inches cancel out and we do 96 divided by 12 and we keep the feet. So this means we know that our couch is 8 feet long. Now we need to find the midpoint of that. We know it's 8 feet long, so all we need to do is divide it by 2 in order to get the midpoint. So 8 feet divided by 2 means that our couch is at 4 feet is the middle. So this means that from end to end is 4 feet long. Now it asks us how far is it away from the wall. So what we're going to do is we're going to just add our two parts up. So we know from the wall to the end of the couch is 2.5 inches or 2.5 feet. And then we are going to add from the midpoint to the end of the couch, which we said was 4 feet. So this means that the couch, or the midpoint of the couch, is 6.5 feet from the wall. Alright, now in example 6, it tells us to find the measure of segment PR if Q is the midpoint of segment PR. Now remember what we said. We said that the segment from midpoint to endpoint is half the size of the total length, or the from endpoint to endpoint is twice the length of midpoint to endpoint. So we can use either one of those two. What I'm going to use is I'm going to say that segment PR is equal to 2 times the length of segment QR. So we can say that PR is twice as large as segment QR. Now all we're going to do is substitute. So we know that segment PR is 14x plus 2, and that's equal to 2 times now segment QR, which is 6 minus 3x. Alright, so now we're just going to do some simplifying. Now we know we're going to keep the 14x plus 2 on the left side, and now we're going to distribute the 2 through the 6 minus 3x. So 2 times 6 is 12. 2 times negative 3x is minus 6x. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to put all our x's on one side, and then we'll put all our numbers on one side and solve for x. So we add 6x to both sides, and we get 20x plus 2 equals 12. And now we need to subtract 2 from both sides, and we get 20x equals 10. And now to get x by itself, we need to divide both sides by 20. And then to reduce 10 divided by 20, that is the same thing as 1/2. So we know x is 1/2. Now we look at that and we ask, does that answer our question? Our question tells us to find the measure of segment PR. X does not represent the measure, it just represents what X stands for. Now to find PR is represented as 14x plus 2. But we know what X is. We know X is 1/2, so we are just going to plug that into our equation. So this is 14 times 1/2 plus 2. 14 times 1/2 is 7. We add 2, and we get a final answer of 9. So our final answer for the measure of segment PR is 9. Now, the final thing that we are going to be learning in this section is about segment bisectors. Now, segment bisectors is defined as a segment, line, or plane that intersects a segment at its midpoint. Now, all this is saying is if we have a line, a segment, which remember a segment is a line that stops at a certain point, or a plane, if it intersects a segment at its midpoint, then it splits a segment in half. Alright? So an important thing to know is that this line can be drawn in multiple ways. So we could draw this line over here. We can draw it going from as a negative slope, positive slope, etc. As long as it goes through the midpoint of a segment, then it is called a segment bisector. An easy way to think of bisector, which we will use quite often in this in geometry, a bisector splits something in half. So let's actually write that down. A general definition for bisector is splits in half. So it will have angle bisectors, segment bisectors, etc. So an easy way to think of bisector, splits in half. Now this is the end of our chapter 1.3 notes. Please make sure that you file these away, put it in your binder, and I will see you in class.